finally, again, he said, American citizens deserve the protection of the Equal Protection Clause. So there you have it. John Kerry lecturing a black woman in Mississippi about the meaning of the Equal Protection Clause. As for the claim that we needed gay marriage so that gay people could visit loved ones in the hospital, health care in America must be better than I thought if so few people have been to a hospital that they think there's a guest list. Gays can visit loved ones in hospitals. They can visit friends, neighbors, acquaintances, even complete strangers. Anyone can. There's no list. This is another one of these phantom civil rights, like all the bookstores that were never required to turn over sales receipts to John Ashcroft. Similarly, gays can pass on property to whomever they'd like. No law prevents one gay guy from leaving his electric spice rack to another gay guy. They can leave their property to their cat. Every once in a while you see a little item in the newspaper about some daft widow who left her entire estate to a cat. It's perfectly legal, you just need to write a will. But liberals who have figured out how to get a 13-year-old an abortion across state lines without her parents' permission can't figure out how one gay guy could leave his Patti LaBelle records to another gay guy. Okay. As for living equally under the state laws as other people in the country, unless Kerry was referring to the precise thing he's claiming to oppose, marriage, gays do live under the same laws as other people in the country. There are no separate speeding limits for gays, no trespassing or murder laws specific to gays, although there is some evidence of gay profiling with regard to fashion don'ts. What gays can't do is get married, something the Democrats kept swearing up and down to oppose. They opposed gay marriage, but they support civil unions for a series of reasons that make no sense. As Kerry said, I think the term marriage gets in the way of what we're talking about. Yes, as many a philandering husband has said, I think the word mistress gets in the way of what I'm trying to get away with. Maybe we should go the Madison Avenue route and for straight marriage and gay marriage refer to new marriage and marriage classic. Other idiotic arguments made for gay marriage were that this would be the first time, Republicans immediately, of course, they're always following the law. How do we respond to insane court rulings? Oh, I know, we'll pass a constitutional amendment. And the response to this was, this would be the first time an amendment to the Constitution took away someone's rights. Well, that's absurd. All laws take away somebody's rights. Slaveholders, police, soldiers who can't be quartered in your homes. Of course, that's what a law does. It takes away somebody's rights. And then there was the appeal to the future, how history would not look favorably upon those of us opposed to gay marriage. You'll sound like a Neanderthal. We will win. You will lose. I don't know. It didn't work out that way for them on abortion, or they wouldn't be running from it now. Chesterton was prophetic about the evils of the 20th century. He said the old tyrants invoked the past. The new tyrants will invoke the future. That's what we got on gay marriage. Then there's the one, how does this affect your marriage? What does it matter to you? How does it affect your life? I don't know, how does polygamy in Utah or slavery in South Carolina affect my life? Some things are just wrong. Liberals act like I'm the nut for defending a 3,000-year-old institution. The burden is on you to defend something that has always existed. This is the real advantage of liberalism. They spring such insane ideas on you. You know, you're taken aback. You haven't had time to think of why you do have marriage. I mean, you know, how do you know the earth revolves around the sun? I don't know. I just kind of know it. Well, you're a college student. It's not really fair to ask you because you probably do know. It would take me a half an hour to, you know, remember. I don't know, telescopes. We look at the moon. I don't know. At some point, you just accept some things, but they come up with such crazy ideas. You're sort of taken aback. But why? I think, as a general rule, if you're the one defending an institution that's been around for thousands of years, the burden should not be on you explaining why to keep it. The person who wants to throw off the institution that's been around for thousands of years, I think bears the burden of carrying the argument on that. But ultimately, this is a process question. Whatever Americans want to do, how about letting them vote? We didn't raise this issue. The courts raised it. The courts jammed it down our throats at the risk of insulting any of my gay male fans. These people just think Americans are a bunch of servile Euros and will do whatever they say. Conservatives keep trying to effect change according to legal process, and consequently, subsequent to these court rulings, dozens of states have voted on whether to define marriage as between a man and a woman. And whenever the people have been allowed to vote, when the people get a say, and it's not a mayor, a court, a legislator looking for favorable press in the New York Times, when it's a referendum and the people get to vote, it has been overwhelming against the idea of gay marriage. The Massachusetts has as much right to declare a right to gay marriage as I do standing on this podium. The Massachusetts legislature and governor should have said, that's an interesting opinion you just wrote, but we're ignoring it, and if you do it again, we're cutting your salaries. But they didn't, and if we don't get Massachusetts judges out of the country, we could be reading headlines. Massachusetts Supreme Court abolishes capitalism, orders country to nationalize all industry. You know, what can't the court do? Where do we draw the line? What if the courts find a constitutional right to polygamy, to cannibalism, to fascism? Is there some point where we'll say, you aren't our tyrants? And if there is, there's a story about Winston Churchill, perhaps apocryphal, at a dinner party, and he says to the woman sitting next to him, would you sleep with me for $1 million? And she hems and haws and says, yes, I think I would. And he says, would you sleep with me for $1? And she says, sir, I am not a prostitute. And Churchill says, I think we've already established what you are. Now we're just negotiating about the price. So my question is, if there is anything 5 justices on the Supreme Court or on the Massachusetts Supreme Court could ever do that we would just say, no, we are not following this. Cannibalism, polygamy, fascism, banning heterosexual marriages. Well, then we are just negotiating about the price. At what point has the court done that? Is an abortion holocaust enough? Either the answer is no, and we're already living under a judicial dictatorship, or we are just negotiating about the price. Democracy isn't perfect, but at least it's self-correcting. You can vote again. You can persuade people. You can campaign. Whatever evils the American people may have voted for, they have never voted for a system of laws that led to the death of 47 million unborn children. In what parallel universe would the American people vote to uphold abortion, to ban guns, to prohibit under God from being said in the Pledge of Allegiance? Yet our courts would have us do all this and more. How about taking our chances with democracy?